All right, welcome everybody to our eoLIFE Thursday Night Live. I'm Rosie Grummert, if we haven't met before, and this is our third class in a series of three about boosting your health with essential oils. So really excited to share with you, and I know that many of you catch this recording later on, so be sure and comment down below in the comments if you've got questions, or if you're catching me live, then I'll answer all the questions at the end. So each week we've just covered this really briefly because I know that it can be that we see these classes out of order. So doTERRA's essential oils are the only ones that I ever recommend using in your cooking or using with foods. And just at a glance, you can see that picture of the oil bottle there in the upper corner, that there is a supplement facts label right on whichever ones you can use internally. That means they have been proven as being safe for being able to be used internally, right? And if you are on doTERRA's website or you're looking at some doTERRA handouts or a doTERRA product guide, you'll see these different symbols. The A, T, and I is aromatic, topical, and internal, and then the N, S, and D gives you an idea of the level of skin sensitivity, right? Neat, sensitive, or dilute. And my rule of thumb is always to dilute a little bit more, because you can always add more essential oil and make something stronger, but it's harder to make something weaker. So go ahead and start with less concentration of essential oils. And if you haven't caught them yet, go back and catch our first class in the series and second class in the series, because we talk more about this too and how you can dilute them in with your foods. So one of the things I wanted to talk about this time around is like, why? Why even strive to eat healthier? Why use essential oils in with your cooking? And we're going to just really quickly go over some of these different reasons why. Some people are looking to lose some weight, some people are looking to gain some weight, and other people are looking to maybe even redistribute the way that their body is being at the moment. And the thing about eating healthy is it does help our body to center and balance in all of those areas. You reduce so many risks with eating healthy. And if you know anything about the ORAC score of foods, that's basically a level of measuring the amount of, not necessarily like oxygenation that can occur, but it's a major measurement of health benefits of things. And the ORAC score is boosted tremendously when you use essential oils. In fact, clove essential oil, I believe, has a higher ORAC score. I should research this better for you guys, but you can dig into it a little bit more if it interests you. Has a higher ORAC score than even acai berries. So that's pretty high. You have improved heart health, and genuinely all of your organs are going to be improved from eating better, right? It's an amazing role model. We have a seventh grader in our home. We've already raised four other kids, and it makes a big difference. If I have apples, bananas, carrots, celery, cucumbers, even some vegetables that maybe fruits or vegetables we don't get very often, but they're kind of fun, like some special like Asian pears. We'll get a pineapple even when it's out of season, like those kinds of things. We have those things around the house, and you know, my son, he can tell when I'm like, oh, I got a pineapple. Like he can tell that I'm excited about that. That transfers, right? It's not me saying, oh, you need to eat this because it's healthy for you. It transfers. Or if I make a green smoothie and I'm trying like the white grapefruit oil in my green smoothie and I'm excited about that, I'm like, do you want to taste this? That example is a really good example for him, and it will carry throughout his whole life, right? There is a different sense of like self mastery or accomplishment when you are eating healthier and you're helping your body have what it needs. And it's a process and it's a journey, and it's not a matter of being perfect. I was talking with a friend of mine about this whole concept of like 80-20 when it comes to our eating, or maybe it's 90-10 or even 95-5, right? you're going to eat a certain percentage of foods that are as close to how they grow as possible, right? The least amount of processing or cooking or anything involved in it. And then have that other percentage as what feels right for you. That so you can like set those guidelines and then you can feel a sense of accomplishment when you meet that. Or there's another gal that I know that she is helping a bunch of people right now explore and feel super successful with eating raw till 4. So she's got a program that's raw till 4. So they can feel super accomplished in what they're doing with shifting their eating habits and just eating raw until 4 and then eating as healthy as possible from 4 until when they go to bed, right? So there are cost savings. And I did want to expound on this a little bit because it can be really easy for us to walk into a store and look at the cost of an organic apple compared to the cost of a regular apple and be like, well, how can there be cost savings, Rosie? That doesn't make any sense. I can see this apple costs more. And yet, if I'm not needing to reach for things to help mitigate other symptoms and inflammation, because I'm not putting it in because I've got this organic produce or fruit instead, if I'm not needing to run for professionals to help me with navigating things in my body, if I'm not needing to do as much detoxing, and then, of course, especially if you look at over the course of a year or 2 years or 5 years, 10, 20 years, all these other pieces where I've reduced risks of diseases, I'm not reaching for medical care as often, all of those things impact the cost savings. And here's something else I've noticed too. As I have transitioned our family to eating organic, when I go and buy organic apples and I've spent more for them, I am less likely to just let those apples rot and not eat them and have them go to waste. So we actually are saving money on our food budget because less of it's being wasted. We are eating what we purchase. We're more careful. We're more mindful, right? We're more mindful on from that part where we decide to purchase it all the way to eating it and not having it be wasted. And then in our situation, as many of you know, of course, we've got chickens too. So our chickens and our compost pile, they get the benefit of the trimmings and the scraps from that organic produce too. So you have more energy, improved focus, better sleep, healthier skin and nails. All of these things roll in with having healthier eating. And then when you boost it with essential oils, you get even more, right? Improved digestion. This is a huge thing. Honestly, a lot of times when I first start working with somebody, they'll be like, well, I can't eat, and insert something there. Like, for example, just last week, I had someone say, I can't eat zucchini. Like their body can't digest the zucchini. It's not used to having the cellular structure and the fiber of the zucchini. People's bodies have gotten so used to having everything be processed, which is basically stripping and breaking down and creating something unnatural, right? Not to get on a soapbox, that their body doesn't know how to digest actual food anymore. So as you transition through that, then you have improved digestion because it's like building up those digestive muscles and that system again. This also can improve your mental health and your brain function. And last but not least, I wanted to add this on here because in our family, one of our favorite places is the kitchen. And it's not like any of us are amazing chefs or cooks. And yet we gather there, we chop things up together, we mix stuff up, we burn things together, we try them out. And we have so many memories and so much bonding time is around creating, sharing, and having food, right? So when you have healthier food, there's actually more time spent many times in cutting up fruit or cutting out vegetables and prepping food so you get more time. Like turn off the TV, get off social media, and make food together, right? So I'm going to go ahead and jump off my my high horse on all of that, but it's made such a difference in our family. We raised up our other kids, and actually we don't even have it here. We don't have any kind of a paid um, TV service in our home. We do have internet access, so we do have the ability to like watch things on YouTube or on Amazon Prime, or to watch DVDs or videos, or to rent something, right? But we don't have that actual like programming dumping into our house. And that is where we find the time to create healthy food and to have healthy food. So this is not an all-inclusive list at all. In fact, if you're on live and the other things have jumped into your head, go ahead and put them in the comments, because I'd love to see what those things are too. Okay, so let's move to some of the recipes I want to talk about today, so I can talk about some concepts. Okay, so this first one here is a granola bar. Now, what I have found that in many people's homes, this is something that people are spending money on, is some kind of a protein bar or a granola bar. So we've got that ability to take something healthy and some quick energy with us on the go, or if we're being active. Many times we've got kids or ourselves that are in sports or hiking or that kind of thing. And to be able to have something that's portable is great. I've made this recipe before. I have used the chocolate trim shake in the one that we did, and it was delicious. We just absolutely love it. This is one of our favorite recipes. Another thing with this is you can see how it says 1 to 2 drops of cinnamon oil. I've also used the On Guard oil, and I've also used cassia. Cassia is one of my favorites for things that have to do with cooking. So a good rule of thumb is you can mix up your dry ingredients, and as long as you keep that balance. So like, let's say you don't have almonds, but you've got pecans and you really love pecans, then you can swap that out. And the other thing that I have found is, you have different people that they don't, for example, love cranberries. You can just omit them. Or I know many people that they'll get little cacao nibs, or there's even some good healthy vegan mini chocolate chips that you can get, and you can mix those in instead, right? And so you can make this your own. But this is a great way to save money and to be getting good healthy things in, and get that boost of the oils in with it too. Another one of our favorites is to use wild orange in this too. It's really yummy. That chocolate trim shake with the wild orange is really good. This is another thing that I wanted to touch on a little bit more, is things that have to do with a salad dressing, because so many times people are trying to eat more healthy, and this is a big place to save some money and also be able to use your essential oils. Now, me personally, I don't love cilantro this much. So for me, I make this with a toothpick of essential oil, like we've talked about before. You open up the essential oil bottle. This is spearmint. And you have the little orifice reducer right there, that little hole. And you just take a toothpick, dip it down in, and then you can swirl that around and give your dressing a taste. I do love the lime that is in here in this strength, but I would recommend using a toothpick of the cilantro oil, and you can always dip it again if you'd like to have a little bit more. The only other piece of advice I have for homemade salad dressings is they don't have any kind of a stabilizer or a binder or any preservatives in them. So you do want to go ahead and mix these up in small batches. I keep mine stored in a canning jar, and I'll even keep the little shaker ball, like what you'd mix. You know how you can get those blender cups that you use for mixing up a protein shake? I keep the little shaker ball in the little canning jar with my salad dressing, so that way I can give it a good shake before I'm drizzling it over my salad, and just keep it in the fridge. Okay, now in our home, my husband is not a big water fan. I love water. I drink tons of water. I have water with me all the time. He loves, I mean, he grew up on juice. I think part of it is because he lived in Puerto Rico for part of his childhood, and I'm not too sure that the water all the time was something that they could be drinking, right? So he loves juice. And so for us, taking a citrus, oranges, grapefruits, lemons, limes. So you can take the same principle, juicing some of them. It doesn't even take that long. We've just got a little glass hand juicer. We cut them in half and just give it a twist, right? And then using either raw honey or maple syrup to sweeten it, and some essential oils to give it a zap to boost that auric score and a little more flavor boost. We have had some really fun drinks come from this. So this is a good model that you can use to follow to make a healthier drink for somebody who likes to have fun drinks and not just to have juice like straight sweet orange juice, right? One of our favorites as of late has been to take some cranberries and to blend them up. And we honestly just will take about a half cup of cranberries and a couple cups of water. We'll blend it all up and then we'll pour that through a strainer. So we get out a bunch of the big chunks of the cranberries. Then add the sweetener, which is going to be some raw honey or some raw maple syrup, right? And then add the juice of maybe 4 or 5 lemons. And then we add 2 to 3 drops of the white grapefruit oil that we had as a special oil a couple of times. And that's one of our favorites right now. So I hope that this pattern is one that you guys can follow, because it's tons of fun. We always have some kind of a flavored citrus water juice drink thing. I don't even know what to call this in our fridge, because again, my husband doesn't love to drink just water, right? I was really inspired last week when Kristen shared her other recipe. I've actually already made it up twice, and I was like, oh, what's another solution? And I dug around, and this is not my recipe. I found this one, and I tried this one out as well, and it is really yummy too. Now, I have to tell you, I did not use yogurt. I used coconut. I have a coconut almond blend of milk that I prefer to use. And then I had some full fat coconut milk, and that's what I used instead of vanilla yogurt, right? And I don't think I had a full teaspoon of vanilla in there either, a little bit less. But this was really yummy, and it was helping me feel like I was in the fall spirit. So one of the things that I am hoping for with these recipes is that you can take a look at what are some of the things that you normally love to have in whatever season you're in, and how can you substitute some healthier alternatives and boost the health benefits and the flavor with your essential oils, right? So in this recipe, it called for using On Guard. But again, you could use the cinnamon oil, you could use the cassia, or if you're someone that really loves even like ginger, that could be really yummy in there too. So don't be afraid to play around. Just make them in small batches, because then if you don't love it, you can be like, oh, well, I'm going to have this because it's healthy for me. But then, maybe you don't want to make it that way again next time, right? This is something that we've been doing a bunch of in our house, and I talked about it last week. We've been doing a whole bunch of dehydrating. Even if you don't have a dehydrator, this tells you how it is that you can just dehydrate in your oven. You just put it down to a low temperature, and I usually check on it actually every 10, 15 minutes or so, and you can flip them around so they continue to dehydrate, right? Excuse me. One of the other things that I have done, and I brought this in so that you can see, is I have these little 2-ounce spray bottles. This one happens to have cardamom in it. I went ahead and put 20 drops of cardamom here in this 2 ounces, and I put a sticker on the top and on the front, because I've got one like this for cassia, I've got one for cinnamon, I've got one for ginger. And what I have been doing is spraying, laying them out on the tray, and then giving this a really good shake, and then misting the water with the essential oil in it onto the fruit, and then dehydrating it. And then the first time that I flip it over, I mist it again, just to get the flavor on both sides, and then dehydrate it that way. And we did some cardamom pears. We just sliced the pears into eighths. We didn't even take the skins off. And you guys, they are divine. I've been eating them like candy. They're really, really good. So the great thing about this is when you are looking for a healthy snack you can grab on the go, you can get a good boost of energy into your cells, then having dehydrated fruit can be a really good way to do that. Noah's been taking these in his lunch, our dehydrated apples and our dehydrated pears, and he's just been loving them. So I encourage you to play around with that. And you don't have to do a big batch. This says 7 to 8 medium-sized apples, but you could just do one or two and play around with it and have a fun, healthy snack. And it makes your house smell really good too.